Hi friends, this is Nirupam from Innova Engineers team. Today I welcome you to the first tutorial of Spring Boot application. Now, what is Spring Boot? Most of you have used Spring technology or Spring framework in your applications. We use Spring to simplify all our applications in Java J2EE. Now, why use Spring Boot? We have been using Spring for a long time. Spring has been here for about 15 years. Now, what about Spring Boot new then? Now, when Spring was came into existence, it had XML-based configurations. Now, XML-based configurations has been there for a long time. Then kept the Java-based configurations with annotation-based. Now, what is the problem with those? If you go into XML-based or the annotation-based Java configurations, all those takes a lot of time and lot of things you have to do. Now, this has been simplified in our Spring Boot. What does Spring Boot bring into? Spring Boot simplifies all of this. You don't have to configure all those things that you have to build for a simple Hello World application. Even if you want to build a simple Hello World application using your old Spring XML based configuration or a Java based configuration, you have to do a lot of things. You have to configure the MVC dispatcher servlet, then map all those controllers, service layers, or whatever those things. If you have JSPs, you have to map those. But for a simple Hello World application or whatever you do use, you don't have to do all those things in Spring Boot. All those things has been simplified with a much less configuration. What happens in Spring Boot is that Spring Boot automatically detects what are the technologies you want to use in Spring frameworks. Spring frameworks comes with lot of things like Spring Data JPA or REST APIs or SOAP APIs, whatever you want to use, or Spring Security. All those things can be coupled together in Spring Boot with much less configurations. Spring has already minimized a lot of things we used to do using servlets and JSPs when J2E came into existence. Now with Spring Boot, a lot of configuration has also been minimized. So this is the main funda of why we are going to use Spring Boot. Now how does Spring Boot actually works? Spring Boot works on Maven based or Gradle based. Here today I will be showing you on a Maven based application. So whatever dependencies you include in Maven form file, Spring Boot will automatically detect all those things and will configure your project according to that. And now depending on the dependencies you have mentioned in the Maven POM file, Spring Boot will automatically set up the configurations and will auto detect all those things. Suppose you have a Hibernate, a Spring Data JPA or a Spring Security, so it will automatically look for all those files and will configure. Only thing for a Spring Data, you will have to configure all those data, so you will have to just map those data sources. One thing you have to just mention, anything you have special configurations, you have to mention all those things in an application.properties file in a Spring Boot application. So let's begin our first Hello World Spring Boot application. Today I will build this application entirely based on IntelliJ IDEA. This is the best IDE that I have ever used. I will use this, and I will also recommend all of you to use this IDE for building any Spring Boot application. So let's begin. So let's start building the creating our first Spring Boot application. I will now you can see that I am using the IntelliJ IDEA's latest version. So let's start creating the new project. So the first thing we have to do is using the Spring initializer. So you can see it will just pull it from this URL, Spring's URL, spring.io, and you can give any custom URL from also. So I will be using Java 1.8. This is the mandatory version of Java you need for Spring Boot. So as soon as you click on next over here, it will start initializing or retrieving the Spring Boot initializer options. So from here I will keep it as like this only. This is a demo application. You can see there are options. You can give it as POM or archive, Maven POM or Maven archive, or a Gradle based project. I will be choosing as Maven archive. Now one more important thing about the Spring Boot is that you can also package your application as a jar. Earlier you could you had to do a war packaging only, because a lot of servers could not deploy a jar file as an web application. So you can do it as a jar now with Spring Boot. What happens is you can directly run the jar and start your web application from there, because and also Spring Boot comes with a embedded Tomcat, so you can just do that. Here it is my Java version. You can see all these options. I will keep this var for now. Now you can see this window. This wizard has lists all the features that are included in Spring. You can do any of those options. You can choose any of those options depending on your project. Since this is our first introductory project, so we'll just create a normal simple web application. This is what I will choose, web. That's all. It will create the project. Till then I will pause my video and will be back once this project is created. So you can see now the project is created and has been loaded in IDEA. This is the entire directory structure that has come up. So here goes our src folder. Inside here you can see that two Java files has been automatically created. But before that, let's first get a look into POM file. Here you can see the POM file has been created. All these things has been included. One thing you can see in the build, Maven comes with a Spring Boot plugin. So you can just directly use Maven to start the application or compile the Spring Boot application from here. You can start deploying using Maven only, because boot comes with embedded Tomcat. So you can see all these things that has been listed over here. This is the boot starter web. This is the Tomcat I was talking about, embedded Tomcat. And now we have the last one, the Spring Boot starter test. So this is our POM, and with this POM we have also these two files that has been automatically created. You can see that the file name that has been created is depending on the application name that we gave, and it has attached another keyword with that, demo application. So now you will be wondering why we have a main method here. As I was saying, that we can have jar packaging in our Spring Boot application. So that's why we have this main method over here. Your application will start directly from here if you have jar packaging. Now you can see this annotation, Spring Boot application. This means your Spring Boot application will directly start initializing and deploying from this class. So for this reason, this class has been created automatically. Now what is this servlet initializer? This servlet initializer is used to initialize your all the servlet related things, because as you know, in all J2E applications, internally it is only the servlet that is getting that gets deployed or that gets accessed, whether you are using servlet or not using writing servlet at all, because JSP also gets automatically converted into servlets only. So the servlet container, so what in servers we have servlet container only, so the servlets gets accessed from here. So this is the servlet initializer class, which will actually initialize all your servlets. Though we won't be writing servlets, but It is the just as in Spring XML based configurations also we have MVC dispatcher servlet, so you can think this class of that type only. So let's first create our first JSP. I will go and create here web folder that we generally have in a web project, Maven West web project. Then I will create the webinf directory because our JSP will reside inside that only, so that it cannot be accessed easily, or you can say I will not say easily, unauthorized access. Here I create the JSP folder. Now let's create this JSP file, hello world JSP file. I'll give the name as index.jsp or whatever. You don't need to give extension. I have chosen here JSP. So a JSP file has been created. Just for demo, right here hello world. Now I'll create our first controller. As you know, for any controller we have to tag it with @controller annotation. Now use request mapping to map the URL. Here we will return the our JSP. So with this our controller is over. Now we have to tell Spring Boot that all our JSP files are located over here. So for this you have to map this. This is what I was talking about, application properties. Now you have to map this over. Now you can see over here I have mentioned these two properties. As you already know, we have a view resolver. We used to have a view resolver. So you don't have to mention those view resolver anymore. You just mention it as a property. This is the prefix because prefix is our folder location over here and the suffix is our JSP extension. So with this we come to the end of this all hello world application. Now we will just test it. For testing, you can see it has already been configured. This ID is so smart that it has already created an artifact over here. I will show you for your so that you can understand it how it actually works. You can see it has already taken up all this module has been created, all libraries has been mapped over here. These are all the libraries that has been listed over here. Then you have the facets. Under facets you have the spring. It has already taken all of this. I did not do in not a single thing over here. It has automatically detected, and this ID is so smart, and the Spring Boot application on top of that, it has taken up all of this. I don't have to do not a single thing. You can see that it has already created artifacts over here also. So I will just click on this button to start the server. So let the server start. Till then I will pause the application. I'll show you. Now you can see over here the project has been built, and you can see this logo. You can see this thing. This is the logo of the Spring Boot that will come up as soon as it is compiled and built successfully. So since our packaging was var, so it did not start up. So for that I will have to create a run configuration. For that I will come here and go to edit configurations. Click on plus. From here I will choose Tomcat server, local. These are already configured on my system. Because 8080 port is taken up by Oracle on my system, so I will just take it as 8888. That's why I did not do a jar packaging over there, because not jar packaging, I will say I did not start it as an application. You can see here, from here it will start from the main class, so I did not start it from the main class actually, because if I start it from the main class it will take up the 8080 port and it will fail because it is already taken up by Oracle on my system. Here you can see node artifacts. I will add those artifacts from here. I will choose this one. Added. It's done. So you can see in the bottom that our application is getting built. It will take some time to initialize for the first time. You can see now the server is starting up. You can see there are so many logs that are coming now. Even if you have, the beauty of the Spring Boot is that if you have any problem in your application, it will come up with a solution. It will show you the solution that will help you to resolve. It will give you suggestions how to resolve that problem. Today I am actually on a slow system, so it is taking a bit time. You can see the Spring Boot logo has come up. it does. As from the logs, you can see so many things are going on in the background. You never saw all these things when you use normal Spring frameworks, because a lot of things has been done automatically by the Spring Boot. You can see our application has been deployed successfully. It will come up, it will open up in browser. So you can see the application has been deployed successfully, and I have opened it in Chrome already. I'll refresh the page for your help. You can see that what we wrote, it has come over here. Hello world. So with this, I come to the end of this tutorial. Our first Spring Boot tutorial will come next with new videos. If you like your video, subscribe to my channel, and also if you love it, like it. If you have any question, comment on my YouTube channel. I will come back to you. Goodbye.